What's up everyone out there? It's Joshua. I'm bringing you guys my very first video. On this channel, what I would like to do is discuss with you guys things that I enjoy to watch, things that I enjoy to listen to. I guess you can kind of call it a review channel, but more or less I just want to discuss it. I would love to open up that conversation with you guys and bring you my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts as well down in the comment section so we can open up that dialogue. What I'm bringing you today is I want to talk about Stranger Things 3. So this is one of my all-time favorite shows. I stumbled upon it on Netflix one day when season 1 came out. I let it sit probably for about 2 weeks before I checked it out. I was like, alright, I'm bored and I have nothing else to do. So I figured, why not? So I checked it out, fell in love with it immediately, watched the whole first season in one day, which was sad because then I had to wait a year for a new season because that's the way Netflix operates. So I watched that very first season, couldn't wait for the second season to come out. And when it did, I was not disappointed. And I know people in my personal life that I talked to that didn't really like the second season that much. They said it was too much going on. I liked it. I loved it. I thought that it was better than the first. I felt like they improved on things that might have been lacking in that first season. And now that the third season is out, I must say that I feel like they improved again on things that might have been lacking in that third season, in that second season, I should say. Season 3 opens up with basically where the last season left off at. Now, I believe it is June 28th, 1984. So they're trying to open up the dimension to the upside down. If you remember, 11 closed that up in the end of season 2. So they're trying to open it back up. For what reasons? No idea. So they're trying to open that back up. Now, where I felt like this season improved on from the second season is that there's action from the jump. They're trying to open up that portal and something goes wrong. It blows up. They die. Russians just are dying. So the general comes down and says, hey, you have a year to get this together. I want it to be perfect. Get it together. So now back in Hawkins, you have a brand new mall that opened up. Basically a mall. They never had a mall before. They always had mom and pop shops. So they have a mall now. New big thing. Now, as we get further along in the season, not even further along, like I said, it goes fast. You get right to the happenings immediately. So Dustin comes back from Utah and he's trying to communicate with his girlfriend, intercepts Russian communication. He takes that over to Steve, which then involves a girl named Robin. They come together and crack the code really quick. So they get involved with the Russians. Now, what I like about this season is, and what I like about previous season is you have these cliques. Now first you have Nancy and Jonathan. They're in their own clique. They're doing their own thing. You have Lucas, Will, 11, Mike, Max. You have them as their group. You have Dustin. You have Steve. You have Robin. They're their group. You got Joyce. You got Hopper. They're their group. What I like is that throughout the season, everyone's path eventually leads to the same path of, oh crap, they're opening back up this hole, they're upside down is coming back in, and the Mind Flayer is back and he's wreaking havoc. Now, that brings me to Billy. Poor Billy. Billy gets the worst of it all. From the very beginning, from episode 1, he gets attacked by the Mind Flayer. Now, he becomes under the Mind Flayer's control, much like Billy did in season 2. So, all of this goes on. He's kidnapping people. He's bringing them to the Mind Flayer, and the Mind Flayer is also taking over their minds. So now he's just coming up with a whole army of people. Now at this time, we don't know what's going on. But Nancy, Jonathan, they know something's going on. And the thing about their story is that, tell me that it didn't remind you of Lois and Clark working at the Daily Planet. Like, come on, that was very Superman-esque. But they discover that something's going on. They go over to Miss Driscoll's house. She has a rat. This isn't a regular rat. These rats are all part of the Mind Flayer, which we find out later on. He's coming with all of these meat suits, in a sense, to create this bigger monster for his body. So all of this goes on. They figure out what the plan is, in a sense. Now, of course, this big new shopping mall, of course, that's going to be ground zero for everything. Dustin, Steve, and Robin, they figure out that, wow, the Russians are literally right below them. Oh, let me add in Erica as well. Lucas's little sister. All of a sudden, she becomes like this major player in this season. And also, that's another thing that I like about Stranger Things. Every season, they introduce like another character or two that becomes a major integral part to the story, but it doesn't seem overcrowded in a sense because they have their own groups. So no, they're not just all together. So everyone gets their equal amount of screen time, which makes it for an easy viewing pleasure to me. Because if everyone was just in the same scene at all times, I would lose my mind because I would be it would be too congested. I wouldn't know what was going on. So, new characters this season. We have Robin. We have Erica, which isn't a new character, but she gets significant screen time in this season. So Dustin, Erica, Robin, Steve, they all go down and infiltrate the Russians' lair. Not on purpose, but they end up there. They figure out what's going on, but they can't contact anyone because there's no communication down there from their walkie-talkies. While that's going on, Hopper, Joyce, they discover these Russians. They go back to the lab from season 2 because Joyce has a suspicion that something's going on. Hopper doesn't believe her, but Hopper goes anyway because she's going regardless, so he goes to protect her. They figure out what's going on. They get there. They get beat down by a Russian guy. They don't know he's Russian at this point. They just know, hey, got my butt kicked. Don't know what's going on. So they figure out eventually that the Russians are behind everything. They kidnap a Russian guy. Of course, Hopper takes him to his friend, and his friend, of course, speaks fluent Russian. So they kind of figure out the plot of what's going on, and they know that everything's happening at the mall, of course. Now, 11, Max, Lucas, Will, previously being taken over by the Mind Flayer, he senses that, hey, the Mind Flayer's back in play. He knows what's going on because he feels it. He knows. So once the Mind Flayer reveals himself, comes around in the form of Billy. Now, Billy, I feel sorry for him. Never liked him in season 2, but what you see in season 3 is just a hopeless boy who was abused by his father as a child, and which basically is the way why he is now. Now, of course, they do that to make you feel even more sorry for him, not just because he's taken over by the Mind Flayer, but just the way that he was raised and brought up. Now you feel really bad for him. I felt really bad for him. So Billy is basically the Mind Flayer's puppet, much like Will was in season 2. So this all comes together at Starcourt, which is the freaking mall. Now, I'm bouncing around because I don't want to just give out the whole story point by point by point, which I really could do, but I'm not. These are just key points. So now Joyce, Hopper's friend, they go down to the Russians' lair in the bottom of the mall because they are going to stop the machine, stop them from opening the hole, and once you close that hole back up, the Mind Flayer is no more. His ties to this world is cut. So that's their mission. Get the Mind Flayer out of the world. Fast forward, they go down there. They make it all the way to the keys to cut the machine off, blow it up. But doing this will cause an explosion, turn everyone to dust, much like what happened in the beginning. So, of course, things don't go according to plan. Hopper ends up fighting the Russians outside in the lab room where the machine is. Joyce has the opportunity to turn the keys herself, but doing so would kill Hopper. You know, Hopper told her to do it anyway. So she does it. Everyone in that room, including the Russians, including Hopper, get obliterated. Everyone's dead. So Hopper sacrifices himself to save the world, basically. Grumpy old Hopper saved the world. Even Billy helps save 11, who was about to be attacked by the big old Mind Flayer, because the Mind Flayer ends up joining with all of his followers, all the people who minds that he controlled. He takes their flesh, their bones, and joins them to make his body. So now he's huge. He's like freaking half the size of the mall. So he's about to kill 11. But 11 uses what she found out in his head about his memories from his childhood. And she uses that, the happy memories with his mom on the beach, to bring him back to his senses long enough to protect her. And then the Mind Flayer ends up killing Billy. That was sad. That, I don't know, that almost got to me. Not an emotional person, but that almost got to me. So Billy's gone, Hopper's gone, but the world is safe. And all of a sudden, the U.S. Army just storms in, and it's like, where did they come from? Who called the U.S. Army? Where has the U.S. Army been at this entire time? All these military helicopters and all these soldiers marching. Where the hell were they at before? Who knows? So basically, the world is always being saved by this group of kids and these 2 adults, essentially. So, of course, now we're sad. Hopper's dead. Billy's dead. Joyce decides to move away. So now Jonathan, Will, and now she's taking in 11 because Hopper's dead. So 11 has nowhere to go, basically. So they're moving away. They're moving out of town. Of course, 11 and Mike promised to keep in touch. Mike, well, actually, I'm going to say Mike had the courage to finally tell 11 that he loved her, but no, 11 overheard it and basically told Mike that she loved him too. So now with Hopper dead, we don't know what's going on. It kind of seems like a series finale in a sense. I was thinking that myself. I was like, wow, this might be the last season. Hopper's dead. They killed the threat. So it's looking like this is the season finale, or the series finale, I should say, because it looks like everything's wrapped up. Wrapped up clean, tight, nice with a bow. But the ending scene is a scene in Russia. and we see these Russian guards go to these prison cells, and the prison guard walks up to one cell, and you hear another guard say, "No, not the American." And then they go to another cell, get another prisoner who doesn't speak English. I don't know if it was Russian or not because I don't speak Russian, but it was another language. So they take this guy, bring him into this big room that looks like it's been a battle scene, that, you know, they take all of their prisoners here to be eaten by this monster that they let loose that we don't know what it is. It looks crazy. But they leave him there to be basically sacrificed and fed to this monster. So, a couple key points there at the end. They walked past the cell and said, "No, not the American." To me, that means that's Hopper. Hopper's not dead. Whatever happened in that room, the Russians got him, kidnapped him, and now he's a prisoner in Russia. That's what I think. That's my personal thoughts. And what the heck is that monster? Because with the hole closed and the upside down cut off, there shouldn't be no monsters that survive, right? All the monsters should die. Their connection to this world is severed. So what monster is that? And what is that setting up for next season? So I would love to hear your thoughts on that, guys. Overall, I give this season I give it a 4.5. And the 4.5 that I leave off comes where everyone comes together at the mall, and you think that, okay, the unit is together, now they are going to be a strong force, and they're going to go at the Mind Flayer, at the Russians, and beat them. Which I guess in a sense happened, but they weren't together long enough before they split back up into their own parties again. And I guess that's kind of where I didn't like it, because I just felt like Dustin was kind of on the outside of the group the entire season. He was with the group for maybe, I don't know, 8 minutes in the I say maybe 15 minutes in the entire season. When he came back from camp, they trekked up to the top of the hill so he can make his radio. They were together then, and then they weren't together again until they all met up at the mall. And then he went in separate ways again to go back to the radio tower so he can give instructions to Hopper's friend. So I just felt like Dustin was too much on the outside this season. Granted, he has his relationship with Steve and they're like best friends, but I just felt like he should have been with the core group of kids more. But that's like a slight thing that happened that took off 0.5, but to me, this was the best season by far. To me, I like how it continues to expand without it seeming too vast. So it's not too all over the place while still continuing to grow. Every season they add another character or two that we love. I love Robin. I love Erica. I even like the Russian guy. Too bad he died. I didn't talk about him because he wasn't too super important, but yeah, so I like the two new characters that they brought in. I hope they continue to stay. I see it set up for season 4, which of course will probably be 2 years from now, but whenever it comes, I will be waiting. Yeah, so I just don't know what season 4 would be about. Because obviously the Russians are still up to something. They aren't defeated. They are going to continue to try to, I guess, reach the upside down, which I don't know why they're doing this. Why are they trying to reach the upside down? What's in it for them? And is Hopper still alive? Is he a prisoner in Russia? To be, it seems like he is. They have an American. The American has to be Hopper, or at least I'm hoping it's Hopper. What was that monster? Is he part of the Upside Down? Is he a monster that they created? Is there something else other than the Upside Down? So many questions that are just gonna have to wait to be answered. But questions that we can get going, we can talk about in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys think. What did you guys think of the season? Was it the best season? Did you not like it at all? Let me know your thoughts. Also, please remember to subscribe, like. I would appreciate it. Even if you don't, just continue to come back to my videos and watch them. I enjoy just being able to talk to you guys and discuss these things with you. So, hope you enjoyed this video. My very first video. It's a little rambly, but it's all good. I'll get better. So, hope you like what you saw.